Hey, it's JK. It's finally time to take on a multi-cycle magic run in Elden Ring. But let's address the elephant in the room, the thumbnail. Yeah, I see you there going down to the comments to write, Elden Ring doesn't have pyromancies or miracles. I know, let me explain. So, I've done multi-cycle magic challenges in the Dark Souls trilogy and Demon Souls so far. In these games, there were only 3 or 4 types of magic, so I just used a different type each cycle. With Elden Ring though, things get complicated. There's technically only 2 actual types of magic, those being sorceries and incantations. But doing just 2 cycles feels too short. There's also the numerous magic schools these sorceries and incantations fit into, so I could do a cycle for each of those. But there's 12 different schools of sorcery and 14 different schools of incantations. 26 cycles of Elden Ring is just, a little bit too much. I'd like to finish this run before I die of old age. So, while looking for inspiration, I thought about my original Dark Souls 1 multi-cycle magic video, and then it hit me. I'll model my Elden Ring run after it. So, for New Game, we'll use sorcery, specifically the stuff that looks like Soul Spear etc. from the older Souls games. For New Game Plus, we'll use any fire spells, anything that would have been called a Pyromancy previously. Lastly, for New Game Plus Plus, we'll use anything that would have been counted as a miracle, so lightning and holy spells effectively. My goal is to get through the game efficiently, so I'm not going to be trying to collect and use every single spell, because as you probably know, Elden Ring is quite a long game, especially so when I'm killing every remembrance boss in every cycle, DLC included. That's probably why this run took over 80 hours to complete. Without further ado, let's see if this will spell the death of my sanity. To start, we choose the Astrologer class for its starting spells and its high intelligence stat. Worth mentioning, for this first sorcery cycle, my wife Babs and I took it in turns for some parts of it so that she could help me shoulder some of the weight of this mammoth run. Now, we make our character Dumbledore. If this guy was the headmaster of a school, what do you think the school would be called? Let me know in the comments below. We choose the Golden Seed as our starting gift. Seems the most useful. We start off the game and unfortunately have an unsuccessful fight with the Grafted Scion. More of a Grafted Sci-Off this time. But it's okay. Melina gives us some words of encouragement. We use the seed to get another flask and then take on our first proper boss, Rick, Soldier of God. Kinda crazy to start with the toughest boss in the whole game, but luckily Rick was tired so he let me win. Now let's head out into Limgrave. Such a beautiful view. We blast some soldiers who helpfully drop some smithing stone wands. We then speak to Melina again, who gives us Torrent and then level up our intelligence stat to 17. We now upgrade our staff to +1 and then run and grab the Physic and Sacred Tier nearby. We've got a few NPC quests we need to get done for this run. To start one of them off, we need to kill Mad Pumpkinhead. His head takes a lot less damage, so we need to stay closer to actually hit his body and do some proper numbers. Not too much issue to beat though, but it took longer than we expected. I thought we'd be further ahead by now. We can now speak to Selin behind him to start her quest up. She's also got a few spells that she's selling, but we don't have enough to buy them yet. We'd best upgrade our staff before we do anything else, so we head into Limgrave Tunnel's mini dungeon to get more smithing stones. The enemies here also drop them, which is handy. After grabbing all the stones we need, we take on the boss. We don't really need to kill this stone digger troll, but Babs was playing at this point and she insisted upon it. She nearly got him hitless if this slam hadn't caught her with the AoE. I guess he was trolling her, but what he didn't know is he was digging his own grave. With all the stones grabbed, we get the staff up to +3. We now head to the Weeping Peninsula, get the Grace at the start, go into Oridis' Rise for the Memory Stone, and now take on the Erdtree the Last Airbender. Damage is much lower against him than other bosses so far, but luckily range trivializes a lot of his moveset. We just keep on blasting till he dies. We now put some points into Vigor and Intelligence. I never normally do this, but I couldn't think of another talisman at the time to get, so we take the Trap Chest and get the Blessed Dew Talisman. It's finally time for the first real boss of the run, Margit. I actually underestimated this fight a little. Our damage wasn't high, but his certainly was. The second phase especially got quite messy, and I found myself in 1 HP in a dream mode. But thankfully, the Blessed Dew Talisman helps to heal me up, and I somehow avoided taking any hits for nearly a minute, allowing me to recover my health. I kept chipping away until eventually he fell to our magical assault. Melina then says some more stuff and then takes us to the round table. We now upgrade Vigor, Mind and Intelligence. Before proceeding, I went to grab the Royal House scroll, which I could have gotten earlier, but didn't for some reason. We can give it to Selin to increase her stock, and we buy Glint Blade Phalanx and Carrion Slicer. For just a bit of fun, Babs also killed Agil for a few more runes. Let's try out these new spells. Carrion Slicer is a quick magic sword slash. Seems pretty useful actually. I decided to gather some more smithing stone, so I got the smithing stone 2 from this statue. Then I grabbed another from this chest in Mistwood. These let us upgrade the staff to +4. I put one more point into mind before we start tearing through Stormvale. We get locked into this room, but Carrion Slicer cut down this knight with relative ease. We speak to Rogier, grab this painting and then completely forget about it, and then run through to the next grace, grabbing a golden seed on the way. Time for Godric, who takes very little damage from Glintstone Pebble. Ouch. We actually might need a stronger staff here. Thankfully, this demi-human queen in Mistwood drops her staff, which is a bit better than our current one. With some more stones we gathered, we upgrade the new staff to +4. So let's try Godric again. Damage is definitely better, but it still seems a bit on the low side. This was one of the more drawn-out Godric fights I've had in a while. Definitely not the best showing for sorcery. We kept distance and fired, although we did also get in close during the fire attacks in the second phase to get some hits in. After a lot of pebbles to the face, Godric goes down. When using magic against him, should we call it Witchcraft? We now enter Liurnia, where we grab the Academy scroll nearby right away. We speak to Thops to start his quest, and buy the Starlight spell from him, which could be useful in some darker situations. We can give the Academy scroll to Selin and buy Great Glintstone Shard. After getting the Liurnia map piece, we head into Rhea Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. There's a lot of nice smithing stone 3s here, but other than that, we mainly just run through till we get to the boss, Ian the Crystal. We use Glintstone Pebbles to break his body, and then use Carrion Slicer to finish him off shortly after. Babs then went to speak to the Turtle Pope, because she thinks that he's cute. But also because he sells Carrion Greatsword. This comes in very handy for killing the Erdtree Way of Water nearby, who of course drops the magic shrouding crystal tear. We also get another memory stone nearby, and then head into Academy Crystal Cave. The boss of course is 2 more Ian the Crystals. This was pretty much the same as last time, but took a bit longer mainly because they were crystalling for time. Worth it though, because just beyond them, we can grab Terra Magica, a spell that boosts our magic damage as long as we stand in the glyph it puts down. Okay, onwards to the Academy. We grab the key and then activate the first grace outside. We had a spell spamming battle with some Burger Kings hanging out by the front door. We ride the water wheel up and get the next grace. Here, we can grab another strong spell called Comet, the Graven School magic talisman to boost our sorceries, and lastly the Conspector's Scroll. With all the goodies grabbed, we can do the first boss of the Academy, the Rad Wolf of Redagon. This boss mirrors a lot of our moves, using magic swords and projectiles. I stuck with Carrion Greatsword here. Compared to other bosses, the wolf has very little health. It actually only took 10 slashes to kill it. If I'd leveled up intelligence more, it might have only taken K9. Good rewards beyond the doggo though. We can now grab the Radagon icon for faster casting. We also drop down to the chandelier here to get the Academy Glintstone key and the Azure Glintstone staff. The staff boosts our cast speed, but I'm not sure how much we'll actually use it. We give Thops the Academy Glintstone key to receive the Erudition gesture. This lets us solve a couple of other Rise puzzles, including this one that nets us another memory stone. Time now to head to Carrier Manor, where we kill some hands and get the Carrion Piercer sorcery. We did attempt Loretta once. Carrion Piercer was quite good here, it's a big old poke, but I think we should get a bit more damage first. We grab some more Smithing Stone 3s lying around and upgrade our staff to +10. With this in hand, let's give Loretta another go. Great Glintstone Shard does some nice damage, less than Carrion Piercer, but it's a safer option with less chance of being punished in return. We fired away at her, dodging her projectiles, until eventually we wish night-night to this royal pain. We now can see Ranni to start her quest, and also speak to Seluvis as unfortunately, we need to do some of his quests later. What a dick. We're going to leave Renala until later because of her super high magic resist, so instead, we head up to the rune-strewn precipice. We make our way higher and higher, taking in the gorgeous views as we go. Range spells really help deal with these super annoying bats, and there's also a bunch of Smithing Stone 4s lying around here. Even this section with 2 bats at the end was no problem. With the stones gathered, we get the staff up to plus 12 in preparation for the next boss, Magma Worm Makar. Thanks to Great Glintstone Shard, we could comfortably hit the head. It took a lot of hits, but just as he started his second phase, we broke his stance, leaving him vulnerable for several more attacks to finish him off. That's Makarma for attacking us. With that victory, we now arrive in Altus Plateau. We run straight away to the area just before the capital to grab all the golden seeds and the map piece. There's a total of 4 seeds, so it's always worth getting them right away. We also grab the smithing stone bell bearing 2 from the nearby sealed tunnel. We now head to Seathwater Terminus to get 1 more seed, and eventually end up at the Grace by Primeval Sorcerer Azur. You know what we're here for, Comet Azur, one of the most powerful sorceries in the game. We'll get into that a bit later, but first, we grab the Mount Gelmir map piece and get the Grace below the manor entrance. Right by here, there's an ulcerated tree spirit who we need to kill. Carrion Piercer does good damage, and thanks to the large body of this thing, we rarely miss one. We hadn't really leveled up Vigor here, so we took a lot of damage from any hit. But we still only barely had enough FP, and missing any meant we wouldn't be able to win. I actually ended up with not enough FP left to land the final hit. I had to use a Starlight Shard and dodge attacks until my FP recovered enough for me to land that finishing blow. I'm not sure I'd also rate this boss very highly. Worth killing it though, as we get the Cerulean Hidden tier, giving us infinite FP for 10 seconds. I now leveled us up to 36 int, which is good, but still a long way from being able to use Comet, which needs 52. Before continuing, we head back to Mistwood and take the portal to Dragon Barrow. We run out into Dragon Barrow, first cheesing the Rise for another memory stone, and then flawlessly cheese the Knights Cavalry nearby. We're now up to 40 int. I head into Celia and lit all the torches about the town. This opens up the way to a mini-boss, Nox Swordstress and Nox Monk. Carrion Piercer does huge damage and easily bodies these two. It would appear I am the one who knocks. We are rewarded with Lusat's Glintstone Staff, giving our spells more damage at the cost of more FP used. As we were in Caelid, we decided to head to Redmane Castle for the Redan Festival. Redan literally howled with joy when he saw us. Surely we'll be fine even with low vigor, right? Yep, definitely fine. I hate that shockwave. The next attempt went really smooth to begin with though. We fired repeatedly and kept distance, making the fight almost feel scripted up until he did the meteor. We avoided the attack and got a few more hits in. His little purple orbs did cause some issues, but when it came to the shockwave, I actually remembered I could use Torrent here and jumped over them. I did get hit by his flying spinning attack near the end, but survived just long enough to land the killing hits. Not necessarily a star performance, but I had enough Scourgency to get the job done. We upgrade to a massive 47 intelligence and get another talisman pouch for having killed 2 demigods. Time to do a boatload of questline stuff. See if you can follow all this. We speak to Gideon and give him Seluvis's potion. We go back and speak to Seluvis. Find Seluvis's secret room. Speak to Selin again, who tells us to go find Master Lusat. We go to Celia Hideaway. I thought we could cheese the Royal Revenant here, but apparently he can teleport up onto this ledge. What the hell? We get Stars of Ruin from Lusat, go back and speak to Selin again, go to Selin's real body to get her soul, go speak to Jeren, speak to Jeren again where we found Selin's body, put Selin into Seluvis's puppet, speak to Seluvis again, we buy Glintstone Ice Crag and Freezing Mist by the way, then go grab the Amber Starlight and give the Amber Starlight to Seluvis to finally get the Magic Scorpion Charm. Why the hell is this so much more annoying to get than the other Scorpion Charms? I need a break from this questline nonsense, so let's go fight Bol's Carrion Knight to try out Glintstone Ice Crag. Good damage, and Frost is nice, but the range on this is quite short actually. Still, it's enough to take him down, and we get Great Blade Phalanx as our reward. Now at last we head down to Nokron. We take out some of the denizens of this area, some of them even helping me out by jumping off. Mimic Tear is up next. This actually was kinda annoying, he dodged our projectiles relentlessly, but Carrion Greatsword got the job done in the end. Can't dodge that. Now we light up the braziers, level up int to 49, and take on the next Remembrance boss, Regal Ancestor Spirit. At least he doesn't dodge our attacks. I don't dodge his either though apparently. But damage was alright, and this boss is pretty easy anyway. We blast him repeatedly as he tried to recover health, and soon Miyazaki's creation is spirited away. The rune's gain let us get 52 int now. We then head further down to Night Sacred Ground and grab the Finger Slayer blade. Before anything else, we grab this Somber 6 here and level up Lusat's staff to +6. Now onwards to Volcano Manor. There was not much to grab here honestly, so we just ran through and got the bridge open. Before doing the Godskin, I went to get Carrion Retaliation from Seluvis. This spell lets you effectively parry the black fireballs he does and convert them into some sword projectiles of your own, which is pretty sweet. I ended up using that a bit, but then switched to Glintstone Icecrag for Frost, and then Carrion Piercer for when he's stuck behind the pillar rolling at me. This was all very effective actually, and enabled us to defeat the Godskin in about 2 minutes, with the strat earning me a Nobel Prize. With him defeated, I can use the Stone Sword keys here to open the passage, head down, and grab the ever-precious Somber 7. We can also easily grab a Somber 9 and a Somber 8 from Dragon Barrow. As we were in the area, I also headed to the Abandoned Cave, where I easily blasted the Cleanrot Knights boss to get the Gold Scarab Talisman for more rune gain. We now upgrade the staff all the way to +9. I also went to get Godric's Great Rune, as I'd completely forgotten that was a thing up until this point. Well, you see, all this preparation was in service of one thing. Yep, it's time for Rykard. This is gonna suck, isn't it? Well, okay, but what about Comet Azor? Can this blast him down? Well, time to get some more levels then. We take out Grail for a fat chunk of runes. We blast int up to 60 now, but I think there's still more we need, so let's do some other bosses first. It might be finally time to give Renala a go. I had been quite worried about this fight due to her very high magic resistance, 80% it is. Frost from the Icecrag did help, but yeah, that's some pretty high defenses on her part. I just about ended phase 1 before she floated up again. Phase 2 was pretty annoying. The low damage meant that it went on for ages. This whole fight was actually 7 minutes, easily the longest of the run so far. To say there was a lot of spell spamming here was an understatement. But after many projectiles from both sides, we defeat her with a little help from Frost. Thank God she's not immune to that. With our runes, I decided to level up mine this time. Our Remembrance actually does have a lot of value for our build here. Using our precision jumping skills, we make it up onto this mausoleum. We dupe her Remembrance to get both the Carrion Scepter and the Full Moon Sorcery. Well, I guess let's head to the capital as Rykard seems out of reach. Babs took over here to try the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Our damage was awesome honestly. This was almost hitless before he could even attack, but Babs unfortunately hesitated as she mistook his phase transition movement for an attack, allowing him to recover and hit her just as he died. Still, a tremendous kill regardless. With his defeat, we enter the capital. On the main street, an avatar spawns. This guy drops a Lord rune, so it's worthwhile killing him. Comet makes short work of him with very few issues. In the nearby manor, we grab Alberic's armor as well as the Ritual Shield Talisman by the Colosseum. Speaking of armor, why not armor yourself up IRL with some new JK Leeds merch? You can look good in colours such as fashionable pink and help out the channel at the same time. Available now in the link in the description. Godfrey was up ahead. Despite him doing a lot of damage because we've barely upgraded health, this was a pretty straightforward fight. We could blast him with Comet to take off huge chunks of his health, and he goes down shortly after. We level up to 29 mines now. Up ahead is Morgott. We quit out on the first attempt to try to stay further away. This is our first chance to properly try out Comet Azor. We cast Terra Magica and Morgott moves to the side. Damn. Oh wait, no, he does take some damage. It's enough to push him into phase 2. We follow up with another Comet Azor which nearly kills him, and then one more is enough to send him to the Morgott shortly after. He's definitely looking a bit worse for wear now. This barrier is certainly a thorn in our side though. Melina helps us by giving us the Royd Medallion. Before heading into the mountaintops, let's go speak to Ranni again to push her quest forward and get the inverted statue. We head into the Carrion Study Hall. We didn't even need to really, but we chase down this really annoying Perceptor Miriam. We still get a spell I guess, although I don't think it's that useful. We now can put the statue in to invert the tower. We take out another annoying Perceptor and head up to take on the Godskin Noble. We managed to make great use of Comet Azor here, taking out the Godskin while only taking one hit from a black fireball. The second Comet Azor blasted him during the phase transition, and kept going during the follow-up roll to annihilate his health. Up top, we grabbed the Curse Mark of Death for later. We also went to grab some more Somber Bell Bearings by first blasting down the Falling Star Beast in Celia Crystal Tunnel, and then killing Ian the Crystal's brothers in Altus Tunnel. With that sorted, we head into the portal open to us after speaking to Ranni. We speak to Dol Ranni, kill Astel Jr., and then have an Indiana Jones moment, which ended less well than the movies. We make it deep into Noxtella and level up Mind again. I was a bit worried about the Baleful Shadow due to NPC enemies' habit of dodging projectiles, but actually his dodge was too slow, so we killed him easily. No need to curse this Bale. His death lets us get the Dark Moon ring from the chest in Renala's room. We head through this horrible rot-filled lake to take a coffin ride down to Astel. For Astel, I did try to Comet Azor him, but yeah, it didn't go so well. Didn't stop me trying again though. Oh, actually that was a lot better. For the second half of his health bar, I just went with Comets to the face, which was much more effective, and I probably should have just done that from the start. I just love those sweet damage numbers though. But regardless, we blastel Astel into oblivion. Just beyond, I tried to take out a jeweler, but she rejected my advances. I was persistent though, and eventually enough shots to the face earned her adulation. In case you hadn't guessed, we do plan to do the Ranni ending for this cycle, so we proposed to her and luckily she said yes. I think. Hey, she even gave us her clothes. That hat is staying on from now on. So we got to go to the Deep Root Depths, and we decided the Valiant Gargoyles route was the best one. We tried out the Comet Azor strat, and while it didn't work fully for the first one, we did still take off a good chunk of health, letting us finish him with the second Comet Azor. Normal Comet was then easily enough to finish the second in a few shots. That was one of the easier Valiant Gargs fight I've had, and I'm grateful for it. Fia comes and hugs us now, but kills this guy after he tries to give her the D. We then take an anti-gravity coffin ride up to the Deep Root Depths. Why is this river white? Probably better not to ask. There's another avatar here. Sorry, there was another avatar here. Well, Fia's champions. I mean, this fight sucks. Given we know how much NPCs dodge projectiles, Babs decided Carrion Slicer was 100% the play for the first two. The first guy's shield was a bit annoying, but Rogier got absolutely blitzed. Babs did try to then Comet Azor them when they were all in a row when they summon at the start, but it failed unfortunately, although we did take off a huge amount of Lionel's health. Things got a bit dicey when we ran out of healing flasks, but with a lot of running and firing, we gradually took them out, using Carrion Slicer to take out the last one. Definitely one of the fights I fear the most on a ranged run. We now do some more Fia questline nonsense, but at last we can finally fight Fortis Axe. Tried Comet Azor as always, but yeah, not a great boss for this honestly. But that didn't stop us from persisting with it, and after getting some good distance, we blasted him with 3 Comet Azors to finish off this annoying dragon. His roar always reminds me of an old saxophone. Guess that's why he's called Farty Sax. So onwards, after Babs decided to completely annihilate this guy on a horse, we headed into the Forbidden Lands and then into the mountaintops. We grabbed the Smithing Stone bell bearing from a chest nearby and level up intelligence and mind. We also killed Borealis easily for no other reason than I hate him with every fibre of my being. Lastly, we grabbed the Somber Bell Bearing 3 nearby. Now, onto Fire Giant. We initially tried to see if Comet Azor was viable, but yeah, we got crushed. So instead, we used Carrion Slicer, which was extremely effective at destroying his health in Phase 1. For Phase 2, I managed to take a lot of his health off by hitting his hands at the beginning, and then his eye when he did the elbow drop. I did nearly die to the fire breath, only barely surviving. I was sure that was game over for me. I tried to hit him with a Jeweler's Moonblade, but it didn't work as well, so just used a couple of comets, which left him feeling quite irate as he died. Melina now burns the Erd Tree to allow us to enter Farah Mazula. I honestly didn't want any part of these lightning guys, but I did take the time to Jeweler's Moonblade the Banished Knight here. Now time for everyone's favourite boss, the Godskin Duo. Well, that went well. Needless to say, we died very quickly from their attacks. Babs actually found the best strat was a Jeweler's Moonblade, which we could actually use to hit both of them at the same time, helping to keep chipping their health down. When the big one started rolling, she finished him off with some more Moonblades and a Frost proc. She then managed to take down the Apostle. She switched to Comet after that, and despite a few close calls, she pulls out the win against them on just the 3rd attempt. Seems like there's more than one way to godskin a boss. Up ahead, we grab the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman +2. Then, we get blasted out of midair by lightning. Thank you, Elden Ring. We did have a fairly easy time with these birds for once though. Range is so handy for these little buggers. We even took out these guys without much issue. This is going well so far. Comet Azure also easily takes out the Draconic Tree Sentinel, which was a real treat for the eyes. Here goes Malekith. I gotta say, I love having range for the Beast Clergyman. I actually struggle punishing him with melee more so than Malekith. Comet was very effective here. As a result, I actually came so close to doing this fight hitless. Malekith actually helped me out by repeating the projectile and spin attack twice, which led to some good windows. I only got caught at the end by the Destined Death Wave, but I then hit him with the finishing shots, forcing Rami Malekith to listen to our Bohemian rap sorcery. Now onto the Ashen Capital. Here, I level up mine to 40. Before we proceed further though, let's finish up Selin's quest. We choose to help her and blast the hell out of Jeren for being unable to tell which hunter was which hunter. With this sorted, we can go back to where Lusat was and get the Azur's Glintstone Crown, which boosts the power of Comet Azure even further. With this added to our setup, we easily annihilate Gideon. Didn't know that was coming, did ya? I felt it was time to level up Faith a little to prepare for the next cycle, so I did just that. Before anything else, we do have one more bit of business in Farum Azula, so let's go take out Placidusax. I actually opted to wait around until he did the claw swipe, followed by the fire attack. Once he did, and I'd avoided it, there was a big enough window for me to do the Comet Azure setup. This allowed me to blast away about 10,000 health from him. After that, I switched back to Comet as the chances of doing another Comet Azure were pretty low. Comet's damage was still good though, but Placidusax hits really hard also. After dodging the Kaiju laser attacks, I finished him off with a few more comets, including a final one right to the skull. Sorcery is just head and shoulders above the rest. With that sorted, the real Godfrey is up next. Are we going to try and Comet Azure him? You're damn right we are. By luring him to one end of the arena and then running all the way to the other side, I was able to get the setup done and blast him all the way into phase 2 instantly. Then, for Hoaraloo, I waited till he did the big jump followed by the shockwaves, which was a big enough window to get away and fire Comet Azure again. This took off most of his health, and then it was a simple matter of waiting for one more time for this attack, and then blasting him for the win. That damage was simply abhorrent. Before doing anything else, we go grab a couple of other spells that could be fun. Gavel of Heimer is a big hammer, and Cannon of Heimer is the equivalent of a mortar shot. Love 'em. I decided to head to Castle Sol as we hadn't done that yet. Just for fun, we bring down the hammer on Ian the Lion Guard. Commander Niall guards the way. Okay, he's gone. Niall down before me. We get the Haligtree Medallion piece and also go get the other one back in Albinauric Village. With these, we can take the secret route up to the Haligtree. Oh good, the frigid outskirts. We get the map piece and kill Anastasia Tarnished Eater for the somber ancient Dragonstone. I tried to fight the Sanguine Noble here, but it was unbearable. Well, at least we can cheese him. So satisfying. Damn it. We take the portal to Mogwin, where we smash some Albinaurics with the gavel and the cannon. That's a big explosion. Also, I slaughtered this group here just because we could. We now upgrade Lusat's staff to +10. Shall we try Moog? Can you guess how this went? Not well for Moog, that's how it went. With his runes, I level Vigor and Faith. Well, back to Rykard now at last. Yeah, still pretty annoying. FP management is the biggest challenge here. I decided to upgrade the Carrion Regal Scepter as it's almost as powerful as Lusat's, but doesn't have the extra FP cost. I also gathered all the remaining golden seeds to get maximum flasks. This time, I decided to use Freezing Mist to frost him up to reduce his defenses and then strike him with some comets in the face. This seemed to work pretty well here, honestly. For phase 2, I stuck to the same strat, although he seemed less willing to walk into the frosty mist this time. This phase can really end up dragging just because of having to run around to avoid the skulls for ages. Even with all our flasks and attack power, I was still really worried I'd run out of FP. I actually thought I'd killed him at the end, but he survived with 1 HP and a dream. What was worse was he caught me in the snake grab, coming very close to killing me. I think I would have cried if I'd died here. I just about managed to outrun all the chaos towards the end and land the final comet for the well-deserved win. Glad I didn't die due to my many fatal missed snakes at the end. I level up Vigor to 38 now. We now go kill Vike quick and easily, and then grab the Sacred Tear and Finger Maiden gear. We now head back to the mountaintops and Moonblade up Akina. Then we go to Ordina. Thankfully we grab the Sentry Torch. We easily kill the Black Knife Assassin and get the torches lit. We can actually take out the super annoying archers from a distance as well. We at last light the final torch and get the hell out of there. Completing this lets us embark upon our journey to the Halig Tree. I've had enough of these antics. As revenge, I kill his ant brethren from a distance. Time for the real Loretta. We did try to Comet Azure her and, although we didn't one-shot her, we got rid of a good chunk of her health before she moved out of the way. It only took a few comets after that to bring her down, making Loretta regret her trying to fight us. For some random reason, I decided to try out Renala's Full Moon in the bit ahead. The range on the moon is pretty awesome actually. We could hit the avatar on the bridge from all the way up here. I really underestimated this spell. It even helped with the Clean Rot Knights in this room. Anyway, we level up to 75 int at the next Grace and get the Dragon Great Shield Talisman in the building ahead for some more defense. Finally, it's time for Millennia. Before doing her though, I went to go grab another moon spell, Ranni's Dark Moon. Similar to Renala's Moon, except this one also applies Frost. Because of the slow-moving nature of the spell, it can actually hit Millennia. Millennia is also pretty weak to Frost, so this spell is perfect. Our strat is just to make a lot of distance and then spam it. If it inflicts Frost, it can even stop her doing Waterfowl Dance. We can also fire it a few times at the start of phase 2 to hit her after she does the Ionia. Because she closes the distance more here, I decided to use a Jeweler's Moonblade instead for this phase. Damage is obviously lower, but it can still proc Frost. I used the moon when she did the Ionia again, eventually getting another Frost proc, and then finishing her with a Moonblade just as she was going to do Waterfowl. Shout out to Babs as using the moon for Millennia was her idea. Rotten luck for Millennia though. With her done, let's go do Radabeast. I did try the old Comet Azure strat, but he responds too quickly to get away with it unfortunately. Another strategy might work better. I'd also thought Gavel of Heimer would be good for Elden Beast, but the damage wasn't as good as I expected. I did also get spanked by Elden Stars, which is kinda standard. So the winning strat? Well, Radagon can be frosted, so a Jeweler's Moonblade once again was the MVP here. Damage was really strong, especially if you hit him with the blade part of it. There's a couple of good windows to hit him, especially after his flying attacks. After the 3 big slams at the end, I was able to land 3 blades, after which this guy is a Radagoner. Now for Elden Beast. Even though it can't be frosted, a Jeweler's Moonblade still did great damage, and there were ample windows to land it. I did nearly choke at one point thanks to a combo of its rain attack and the sword projectiles. As he started summoning Elden Stars, I spammed the Moonblade a bunch, bringing him low on health. I did take a number of hits thanks to Elden Stars, and then did nearly choke for a second time right at the end from the melee sword swings. I dodged the last one though, and landed the finishing blows to bring him down. You know, a lot of people don't like this boss, but it's always one I've held in high regard. With the souls gained, I leveled up Vigor and Faith. With all that sorted, it's time to enter the DLC. First, we speak to Leda, touch Miquella's arm, and make our way into Gravesite Plain. I tested out our damage on this Curse Blade. You know what? It's still pretty good. Even this big Hammer Knight goes down with no issues. We do a quick run around, getting Shadow Tree fragments and some other graces in the area. There's another fragment here, and also here. We actually take the secret route up to the Fort of Reprimand, so we can run around and get even more fragments, as well as the Shadow Altus map piece. You get the idea, we just wanted to get a good number of available fragments now to save time doing it later. Babs did get distracted at one point by her cute friend here though. Lastly, we got all the map pieces. With all the fragments, we get up to Shadow Tree level 6, and we also grab the FP version of the Blessed Dew Talisman, which, as you might imagine, lets us regen FP. Very handy for our build. I also remembered at this point that there was one other talisman we should probably get. In the Consecrated Snowfield, we get these imps to turn on each other to open this rise, which houses the Graven Mass Talisman to boost sorceries by 8%. Probably should have got this way before now. This was a graven error on my part. Oh well. Finally time to head into Bellarat Tower. These giant scorpions go down with no problem. We keep moving onwards, taking out these shady guys on the way. Time now for the first DLC boss, the Dancing Lion. We did try Comet Azor, but yeah, he didn't take that lion down. Next try, we did manage to get him with one, taking off half his health, but going for it again after that probably wasn't the best shout. The new strat was to cast Terra Magica outside the fog gate, as we're still standing on it once we walk through. This time, it worked, and we did manage to get a good chunk of his health. Another Comet Azor just wasn't possible, so instead switched to Comet, and a few blasts to the face finished him off quickly. Quite a humane kill of the lion this time. Now we head into Castle Ensis. A Jeweler's Moonblade is the not-so-secret MVP of this cycle again. This spell easily handles Moonrathil, the wide arc means he struggles to dodge the sword or the projectile, so we kill him with little issue. We can also make use of Ranni's Dark Moon to kill the soldiers thanks to its fantastic range. Time for R'Larna. I decided to try the Dark Moon here also, and to be fair, it worked quite well actually. Until she deleted us with her sword, that is. The strat is to enter the fight and spam several moons right away. This actually took off a lot of her health and was really effective. I had been worried about this fight due to her high magic resistance, but the damage was better than expected. We pretty much just run away and moonblast her up. This did become more difficult in the second phase due to her aggression and speed. I probably should have just switched to Comet here, but I was locked into the moon for some reason. Felt theme appropriate, I guess. After enough moons, she's defeated at last. Thank God we had enough ammunition to bring her down. Speaking of moons, we can use her remembrance to get the double moon sorcery. For a change, we level up endurance. Next, we head to Shadowkeep to break the Fissure Great Rune. We go into Shadowkeep, but of course a golden hippo guards the way, which we don't kill because I don't want Babs to divorce me, so we went to find a different route. Instead, we head down to Bonnie Village and go round this way. We grab the Grace along this road and head into the Church District. We blast away the Fire Knights with relative ease and drain the water from the area. This lets us take the lift up to the Specimen Storehouse back section. We make our way to the rafters, where we kill some bats and jump down to the balcony, where we can take the lift down to the back gate. There's a Shadow Tree fragment here, which we use to get up to level 7. For Commander Gaius, I thought Comet Azor would be awesome to hit him as he charges at the beginning of the fight, but he can't be hurt during the charge, it seems. Great. Also, we can get one shot by the charge. So, yeah, this fight was kinda painful. For phase 1, we stuck to Comet. Damage was decent, but not incredible. The charge as always was the biggest issue both to predict and dodge. When phase 2 began, we switched to a Jeweler's Moonblade to try and get Frost. I thought we might be able to proc it when he dodged the spinning aerial attack. Unfortunately, it didn't proc as quickly as I'd hoped. We took some hits, and there were some near-death moments. I was feeling like a choke was coming, but finally, the last few blades bored into him, and we procced Frost and finished him off. There's 5 fragments beyond him, so we of course grab them all. Before the next boss, we run and grab the Stalwart Horn Charm +2 from this dungeon. This is because we want some good bleed resistance for the Shadow Tree avatar. This probably wasn't completely necessary, but it helps a bit. I wasn't too concerned honestly. The avatar takes huge damage to its head, so ranged builds generally have a much easier time with it. We couldn't do the critical attacks unfortunately, but it really didn't matter. With a consistent cascade of comets to its cranium, we crushed this creature comfortably. That was pretty fire, which is why it's called a lit oration. Now it's time to head down the river, eventually ending up in the Cerulean coast. Our goal of course is the giant fissure at the very bottom left of the DLC map. This area is pretty epic looking. We take out the Ghost Leonine Misbegotten on the way, but before doing the boss, we go and grab the Ritual Sword Talisman. You might be wondering why get this now of all times. Well, Babs kinda became determined to one-shot Putrescent Knight with Comet Azor, and we needed all the extra damage we could get. She tried a number of times, but he kept interrupting her at the last moment. It does seem very possible though. It took quite a lot of attempts to line everything up correctly and set up the buffs to fire Comet Azor at just the right moment, but eventually Babs figured it out and satisfyingly Putre sent the Horseman of Kost to the afterlife. With that sorted, we head back to the Shadowkeep back section and jump over the edge to get below. We take the lift down, Comet Azoring the Fire Knight on the way for some reason, before taking another joyful coffin ride down below. Babs then left the room, so I quickly Comet Azored the hippos for some more Shadow Tree fragments. Shh, don't tell her. Anyway, we head down to the Darklight Catacombs and get up to Shadow Tree level 11. Our light spell was super handy for navigating this place. It's usually pretty annoying in here. So that all leads us to Jury, a super frustrating fight usually. To begin with, it was going pretty smooth. We could land a bunch of comets in a row with no issue. But the projectile spam of the second phase got really bad really quick. There was one point where I thought I had ended the fight, but Jury survived with 1 HP in a dream. He just kept avoiding the killing blow through a variety of annoying circumstances. I was really worried I'd die at the last moment, but thankfully we land the last hit to end this unendurable fight. We head on to the Abyssal Woods now. This guy tries to give us a hand, but he seemed pretty mad when we refused. We blasted him shortly after. We then snuck carefully past the Winter Lantern type enemies in the area until we made it to Midra's Manse. The tough enemies in here actually were a bit easier than usual thanks to the huge damage the moon did to them. It took only 2 moons and 1 comet to kill him. Similarly, Smo's mum also went down in just 3 quick moons. But of course, now we have to face Midra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. The damage from our comet was lower than I expected, and also he has a lot of health. Plus, madness is an issue. So what to do? Well, Babs once again got it in her head to Comet Azure him, which I really didn't think would work. She certainly proved me wrong though. By luring him near the door and then running all the way to the other end of the room, she had enough time to set up and fire. This was able to take off about 70% of his health. She did get hit by his explosion and madness beam, but was able to get away to the other end of the room and then blast him with another for a cool 10,000 damage. Dodging another madness beam, she fired one more Comet Azure to bring an end to him shortly after. W Babs, she pulled it off in mid-dramatic fashion. We now head to the Cathedral of Manus, Father of the Abyss, to speak to Ymir and start his quest. We go to the Finger Runes of Rhea and blow into the finger here, which sounds like a sentence that would get this video demonetized. We now get another Old Runes map, do a weird gesture in front of a statue, take a relaxing trip to a peaceful village, and blow into one more giant hanging finger. I bought all of the sorceries from Ymir and then unnecessarily Comet Azured Anna. I let Babs take the reins again for Metir, and you can probably imagine exactly what she wanted to do. Right, with that done, let's go scale Shadowkeep at last. It's finally time for Mesmer. We tried out the fleeting microcosm and glintstone nail sorceries we bought from Ymir against him, but neither seemed to be all that good. A Jeweler's Moonblade seemed like a good call, as Mesmer is weak to frost. Damage was good, but Mesmer hits pretty hard. We swapped out to just have a Jeweler's Moonblade here, as well as some more defensive talismans so that we weren't quite so squishy. Phase 1 went pretty smoothly. We were able to land a lot of Moonblades and proc frost for some solid damage. For the second phase, we were able to land them after the snake attacks due to their bigger recovery windows. I actually landed one on him while he was in snake form, but he survived on 1 HP in a dream. Why does this keep happening so much? Anyway, we hit him with one more as he comes at us, ending this mesmerizing battle of wills. Now we go say hi to Egon. Shame we won't be summoning him this time. Ancient Dragon Man gets absolutely annihilated when he tries to invade us. The boss form put up a bit more of a fight, but a Jeweler's Moonblade is so insanely good for NPC fights that this still doesn't take that long. Even though we absolutely didn't need to, Babs insisted on clowning on the Jagged Peak Drake. We even managed to stance break him with a Jeweler's Moonblade, which I hadn't seen happen to anything so far. This was a pretty easy hitless fight. We now head up Jagged Peak. Babs also killed the other drakes ahead just because she wanted to see Egon again. This satisfied her even if we weren't summoning him in the Baal boss fight. Okay, obviously we had to hear Curse You Baal at least one time, but don't worry, it's all solo from now on. So Baal. This guy is one of the toughest bosses in the whole game. His high damage and widespread AoEs can wipe you out in a heartbeat. This was also the second ever time I'd fought him, so I was having to relearn a lot of his attacks. I opted for a Jeweler's Moonblade once again here. It took a lot of them to actually frost him up. Sometimes it was possible to hit him with both the blade and the projectile for double damage. It was a pretty dicey fight at several points. One wrong dodge in phase 2 meant that most of my health was gone. The most clutch thing that happened was that he did the dash into the fire breath, but ended up right on top of me, letting me land 3 Moonblades flush from a safe position. After just a few more, we got the second frost proc to turn him from Baal the Dread to Baal the Dead. With that taken care of, we enter the ancient Row of Ruins. We easily blast down this bird knight guy on the way and take the quickest route possible upwards, ending up outside Ramina's boss room. Babs once again decided she wanted to try and get the Comet Azor on Ramina, but Ramina didn't want to play ball. On the next try, Babs did manage to get most of Ramina's health. A few more comets took away most of the rest of it, but yet again, a boss survives with 1 HP in a dream and she went on a rampage, not giving Babs a moment to breathe. Despite a chaotic assault, Babs survived and landed the final comet to take out this Budjet Quelaag. We now burn the ceiling tree to open up a nearer limb. Our final challenge awaits ahead. But first, we easily blast Smo's mum, and surprisingly even the dancing lion simp goes down with next to no issues. The wind one also went down pretty swiftly. Before we head to the end point, we quickly went back to the Manus Matir Cathedral because I've never done this boss before. We take out Sword Hand of Knight Yolan before Count Emir arrives and dies very quickly. Well, that was something. I didn't expect us to handle him so easily. Ugh, let's get this NPC gank out of the way. Thankfully, we have the moon. These slow-moving projectiles really help with input reading NPCs. Same with the Jeweler's Moonblade, once again the goated spell of this cycle. We still took a fair few hits here, but once Dane died to another Frogprost and we were just left with Leda, we managed to pull out the win shortly after. Sorry Leda, but we gotta finish this run. At long last, we face the final remembrance boss of the cycle, Promised Consort Radahn. I've only killed this guy once before, and that was pre-patch, so let's see how much easier this is going to be. I tried to use a combination of the two spells that helped me the most, Ranni's Dark Moon and a Jeweler's Moonblade. Ranni's Dark Moon was too slow and ended up getting me punished because of his gap closers. A Jeweler's Moonblade felt like the best shout because of the potential frost build-up, but even with a selection of defensive talismans, my death comes pretty quickly. This was easily the hardest fight of the run so far. I just still struggled to avoid his relentless attacks. After dying a whole bunch of times, I decided to respec to give myself more health and endurance. Did the extra health help? Not really. Well, given how this is going, I might as well try switching to my all-offensive setup and using Comet instead. We definitely take a lot more damage here, but we can spam Comet from a distance with a bit more safety, even hitting him in mid-air. Even in the second phase, being a distance away and being able to hit him greatly increased my safety. I did actually dodge some of the longer combos successfully this time round though, which helped. Right at the end, he actually just walked towards me and I barraged him with 5 comets to end this. This was first try with this setup. I'm kinda shocked that this managed to consort him out. But another thing I want to sort out is getting to 200,000 subscribers by the end of this year. If you're enjoying the video, just know that subscribing will mean you'll get notified when new wild videos like this one drop, and you'll help the channel out as well. Thank you, I appreciate you all. Anyway, I respec our stats back to what they were before, and buy Catch Flame and Flame Toss, which will be the only incantations we start the next cycle with. Lastly, we do the Age of Stars ending. This felt like the most appropriate to conclude the sorcery only cycle. So for New Game Plus, I decided I would only allow myself to start with a Finger Seal. I can buy all upgrade materials now, but upgrading it to max right away would be kinda silly, so I'll allow myself only Smithing Stone 1s until after beating my first Remembrance boss, where I'll allow myself to buy Smithing Stone 2s. Then I can get Smithing Stone 3s after the next Remembrance boss, and so on. I'll also only allow 1 talisman slot to start, and gain an extra one for each Remembrance boss defeated. I'm using the Ritual Sword talisman for now. Also, I'll region lock myself for this particular cycle, so I can't move out of Limgrave until I beat Godric, then go to Liurnia and not leave until I beat Renala, and so on. Right, let's go. I took on the Grafted Scion again. Our damage was pretty low, but I guess the seal is unupgraded. It was closer than I had imagined. Flame Sling is pretty slow for what it is. Catch Flame is fast and spammable, but you need to be very close for it to work. Still, after a longer fight than expected, we pull out the win, turning the Scion into a Psy-Off finally. We then fall off a cliff to begin the next cycle proper. We arrive back in Limgrave and upgrade our seal with Smithing Stone 1s. I went to go kill Neregus again and then burned up Patches to get his bell bearing. But then I realised I can't go buy Margaret's Shackle with it because I can't go to the round table yet. Oops. Well, let's fight Margaret anyway. Our attacks do not a whole lot of damage, but Catch Flame again can be spammed fairly consistently in some of his openings, especially the hammer attack in phase 2. Also, we have pretty good vigor from the last cycle, so we can tank his hits fairly well. After a few more flame spams, we take down the first Mog iteration of this boss. Melina now takes us to the round table. A little bit late, but thanks anyway, I guess. Could have done with that before Margit. I decided now for some reason to take the main gate in Stormvale Castle, and somehow got through the first time only getting hit once or twice. I actually managed to storm this castle for once. I used the Stone Sword key to get the Godslayer's seal and Godskin prayer book. With the next grace unlocked, I went to the round table and give the Godskin prayer book to Korhin so he can buy Black Flame. I got the Godslayer seal up to +3. I can't actually wield it at the moment as we're 4 points of faith short, but we can still wield it in our offhand to get a boost to Black Flame incantations. Godric time! So Black Flame, given that it takes off a few % of health when it hits on top of that initial splash damage, did a decent amount against Godric. There's many windows where you can throw several at him at once, like when he does the Whirlwind. The damage quickly stacks up, and we can still chip his health during the phase transition. He also leaves himself wide open after the fire attack. I actually stance broke him with Black Flame, which surprised me so much I actually didn't manage to capitalize. It didn't really matter though, because shortly after, he dies. It's a shame I didn't kill him mid-jump, then I could call Black Flame an anti-aircraft attack. I now put a point into Faith, and then went and quickly reactivated his Great Rune, as this would allow us to get up to 27 Faith, and thus use the Godslayer seal right now. I now made my way into Liurnia. We head to the Everjail on a nearby cliff to fight Adnan. He counts as an NPC-type enemy, so of course, he rolls like crazy dodging our projectiles. I even embarrassingly got hit by the very slow fireball he does. But still, his health is pretty low, so it only took a few Black Flames to kill him. The reward is Flame of the Fell God, the large slow-moving fireball he used earlier. We can't use it yet, but maybe it'll come in Anandi later. Nearby, we also grabbed the Fire Monk's prayer book. I then upgraded the seal to +6 with the Smithing Stone 2s I could now use, and went and grabbed the Academy Glintstone key and killed Smaragd just for fun. Time to make our way towards Remembrance boss number 2. I activated the next grace just before the Red Wolf. But first, we give Korhin the Fire Monk prayer book to get O Flame and Surge O Flame. Surge O Flame, if you can believe it, is like Fire Surge from Dark Souls 1. I wonder if it's any good. Nope, it's absolutely terrible. There's a surprise. So Black Flame carries us again. It doesn't take many to bring the wolf down here. I realized at this point I forgot to give myself a second talisman after beating Godric, so I equipped the Radagon icon. I went on ahead where Moongrum fell for me. Onto Renala. This was actually surprisingly annoying. Phase 1 wasn't too bad, just flame the little ones and then smack her with catch flames. For Phase 2, thanks to the wetness in the arena, she takes way less damage from our attacks. She also decided to summon relentlessly at one point just to annoy me. But with enough running after her and chucking black flames, she goes down too. That arena though, water pain in the arse. I leveled up Faith to 25 and went to grab the Finger's Heirloom Talisman to put in my new third talisman slot. This talisman gives us an extra 5 points of Faith, so obviously it's very useful. I upgraded our seal again using the Smithing Stone 3s that I could now use with Renala's defeat. Although I could leave Liurnia now, I went to go do Carrier Mana first to get it out the way. Fire works really well on these hands. I quickly took out Loretta here. Even with the water in the arena, Black Flame was easily able to handle her. It took longer than I'd like, but not too bad. If she was in the next FromSoft game, would it be called Royal Night Rain? I also sent a jeweler packing. Unfortunately, we do need to do all the Rani quest stuff again. I'm not going to show any of the stuff that we've already seen just to avoid repetition. But we do now need to head down to Siofra River this time. We speak to Blythe here, go ask Saluvus about Nokron, toast some Pumpkinhead, speak to Selin, and she'll tell us about Radahn, and then we can go speak to Blythe again to unlock the Radahn Festival. I mainly run through Caelid, although I did stop to grab Flame Grant Me Strength while I was here. Time already for Radahn. I used the usual trick to skip the arrow phase. I then buff with the Physic and apply Flame Grant Me Strength to boost our fire damage. I used Black Flame to weaken him down, but then during the phase transition, I got close and spammed Catch Flame. I comfortably dodged the Meteor and then got in close again as he summons orbs to spam Catch Flame more. Despite taking some hits, I used Black Flame for the rest of his health until he dies. Honestly, this could have gone a lot smoother, but at least he's Radahn. For now anyway. With him dead, I level up Faith twice and upgrade the seal with Smithing Stone 4s. I realized at this point that I was an absolute moron and didn't go kill the putrid avatar that guards the flame-shrouding crack tier. Oops. Oh well. Anyway, let's head to Nokron, where we absolutely destroyed Mimic tier, lit the braziers, and put on my 4th talisman, the Blue Blessed Dew talisman for FP recovery. Regal Ancestor Spirit was a bit of a joke, to be honest. Black Flame with our buffs did a lot of damage. The only annoying thing was him dodging our attacks sometimes, but he burnt down quick, and we even got a stance break to land the finishing blows. That's what you get when you have the Regal to stand against me. As this actually is a remembrance boss for some reason, we're allowed to upgrade the seal again, and of course we get more faith. I ran through Nokstella, but didn't do the Baleful Shadow this time because there was no need to do Ranni's full quest stuff. I ran through the Lake of Rot again, and Estelle now stands, or I guess floats, in our way. Because he stands in water, fire does less damage, which is quite unfortunate. It's easy enough to pop him in the head with Black Flame though. The only thing that got me was the grab, which I messed up the dodge for. Next attempt though, I was able to barrage him with an onslaught of Black Flame to bring him pretty low. Kinda surprised I never got a stance break with all the hits that connected here. As I got him to 1 hit from death, he went for the grab again, but this time I dodged it successfully, and after dodging more meteors, a Black Flame finishes him off, turning him from a natural born to a natural unborn. I leveled up Faith twice more, and used Smithing Stone 6s now to upgrade the seal again. Things are looking strong. The next destination is the Carrion Study Hall, where we flame grill 3 hands at once. Finger licking good. I honestly didn't have the patience for the Perceptor this time, so ran on through to the top where I had a Black Flame versus Black Flame battle with the Godskin here. I really wish it wasn't raining. He got me a few times, but we did nicely cheese him at the end as we got him stuck behind these railings. Grilled cheese is the best cheese after all. Beyond him, we grabbed the Curse Mark of Death. Now, this is probably a bad idea because they're in an arena full of water, and they resist fire anyway, but let's do the Valiant Gargoyles now. The damage was not great, but at least the health drain helps things along. There are a few points in this fight where it seemed like their AI bugged out and they just stood there taking hits. Also, why does this poison have so much range? Who thought this attack was a good idea? Anyway, it actually came pretty close to the wire, mainly due to some bad plays from me, honestly. I had no flasks left and less than half health. I somehow just about managed to avoid the remaining Gargoyles' attacks to land a few more Black Flames to win, even though it was at the cost of my own life. A valiant effort though. Up in the deep root depths, I quickly turned the Avatar into an Avachard and then put 2 more points into Faith. So Fia's champions, this was extremely annoying. The constant dodging of projectiles is absolutely insane. I got down to just Lionel after nearly 8 minutes, and then I made the egregious error of trying to use Catch Flame and he killed me. It turns out it was me he was looking for. This was the most intense fight of this cycle so far. The number of missed projectiles was crazy. Partway through, I changed the Ritual Sword Talisman to the Blessed Dew Talisman to keep my health regenerating while I was running away waiting for the opportunity to attack. The fight was 10 minutes long, and I actually spent about 6 minutes just on Lionel, running and trying to hit him. I ran out of FP flasks and had to go into the menu and use a Starlight Shard to get me through. Finally, I managed to beat him. This absolutely sucked. Funnily enough, Fortis Axe in comparison was really easy. Hitting his head is not always the easiest as he moves it around a lot, but Black Flame's HP drain is significant enough that even if we do miss it, it doesn't matter. This was a welcome break after the hell of Fia's champions, and at least I can take some Fortis Axe in the fact that this annoying quest is out of the way for now. Also, we're now up to 33 Faith. We can actually use the portal to get into Lanedell and activate the Grace in there. I upgraded the seal with Smithing Stone 7s now also. We still need to go to Altars proper, so I went and grabbed the medallions this time, first from Fort Faroth and then from Castle Height. I also grabbed the Haligtree medallion for later. I used the medallion to ride the lift up to Altus, head through to Seathwater Terminus, head into this fort where I kill a fire pre-early, and get the Fire Scorpion Charm for 15% more damage to our fire. We ride up to the Windmill Village now so we can fight the Godskin Apostle. I forgot how much he dodges. Stay apostille, damn it! The damage is better than I was expecting though, honestly, given his fire resistance. He does have a few openings like during the phase transition where it's easy to pop a few fireballs in. After a bit of back and forth, I managed to defeat him and get Scouring Black Flame as a reward. A big spread version of Black Flame. I'm not going to go do Rykard yet for obvious reasons, so let's do the capital first. I ran down through the main street and tested out Scouring Black Flame by decimating the Erdtar Ava tree. This incant is pretty strong. I got the Flightless Bird painting from the Fortified Manor, which we can use to get Fire's Deadly Sin, which maybe we'll use, I don't know. While in the city, I killed this guy for the Gravelstone Seal, which we'll need for later. Now, onto Godfrey. Even in NG+, his health isn't very high. A combination of Black Flame and Scouring Black Flame works very effectively. He did do a lot of damage now. I suppose this is going to be a running theme at this point. Maybe we need more health. Anyway, we defeat him after about 90 seconds as he's floored by our firepower. But for now, we level up Faith. Let's head back to the round table too. Wait, what? Wow, I totally forgot about this. It's because we got one part of the Haligtree medallion. Well, Scouring Black Flame go brrrr. Anyway, we buy Margit's Shackle. Yep, it's finally time to actually buy it. I looked at my talismans and debated what to do. You might notice I haven't got the Faithful's Canvas talisman or done Millicent's quest yet. The buffs from those talismans aren't that huge, and using 2 talisman slots for like a total of 12% more damage doesn't seem that good to me right now. Plus, I'm kind of all quest lined out for the moment, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Hi Morgott! With 2 uses of the Shackle, I got rid of a lot of his health. I did cast probably one too many Scouring Black Flames when he was doing the phase transition, but it did help bring him down to about 40% health. I think I got lucky here because he just kept walking into the Scouring Black Flame over and over. I only took a couple of hits, and soon after, more got. We yet again grab 2 more points of faith and upgrade our seal with Smithing Stone 8s now. I fly through the Forbidden Lands, head up to the mountaintops, and unfortunately I need to go into Spirit Caller Cave, a place I normally try to avoid at all costs. The fact there's no Stake of Marika here is absolutely criminal. Look at this run back! So the boss consists of a Godskin Apostle, followed by a Godskin Noble. The Apostle went actually much better than last time thanks to Scouring Black Flame, which is able to hit him even if he dodges to the side, which is awesome. The Apostle goes down without too much trouble. The Noble was going really well. He's even easier to hit with Scouring Black Flame. I even dodged the roll pretty well, until the 3rd time he did it when I wasn't expecting it. I nearly choked, barely managing to recover. A few more casts and finally he goes down too. I then delivered the final snail in the coffin for this boss, and we get Black Flame Ritual as our reward. This incant is the one the Noble uses that makes a circle of Black Flame on the ground. With this done, I went to Volcano Manor. I decided to take the assassination quest route this time to get to Rykard. First, this Istefan tried to blow out my flames, but failed. Then, Riley could only stand idle as he burnt to death. Finally, this guy didn't know what hit him. With them dead, Tanith now sends us to Rykard. For my strategy here, we need some heavy armor, so we went to go grab Lionel's in the capital. Rykard was pretty perfect for Black Flame Ritual. We easily got through phase 1 by just casting it loads up close. Only the spinning attack can really hurt me. In the second phase, he has more health and we have to be more careful of the exploding skulls interrupting our time to attack. I had to run around the room a few times when he kept doing it. I switched to Scouring Black Flame towards the lower half of his health bar, and it was actually better, I think. Easier to spam it at least. I nearly died right near the end, but just managed to survive with a tiny chunk of health left and finish him off after 10 long minutes of fighting him. It wasn't really Ryk hard, but it sure was Ryk long. I got up to 39 faith now. Even though Rykard is dead, there are some more goodies in Volcano Manor we can get. I grabbed the Erdtree seal, which is the best seal in the game for pure faith, but decided not to use it. Yeah, I don't know, the Godslayer seal just felt more thematic. I did, however, use the Black Flame ritual to give the Godskin Noble a taste of his own medicine. It worked fairly well, taking off loads of his health. He drops Noble Presence upon his death, which I don't know if we will actually use, but I guess it's good to have options. I had considered trying to get the Gelmir Staff for Magma Sorceries, but it only drops rarely from this one guy who's in a very awkward place to farm, and killing him with fire only, I don't want to do that. Back to the mountaintops, let's go to Castle Sol. I first upgraded the Godslayer seal to plus 25 to prepare for Niall. I thought Niall would be a troublesome fight, but this wasn't so bad. Sure, the knights can do huge damage, but Black Flame Ritual was great for taking out the double sword one. The shield one I took down shortly after with Black Flame. For Niall himself, Most of his attacks are actually very easy to punish from range, especially the lightning jump, which he loves to do. Scouring Black Flame did some great damage, and before long, we give this commander a Neality check. Second medallion part get. We make our way through the Halig path to the hidden tree and end up in the consecrated snowfield. Before we venture there, let's take the route with the most upgrades to our build. First we go to Ian the Guard's garrison. Here, we take out Ian Arganthy the Chief Guard with surprising ease. Beyond him, we can get the Giant's Prayer Book, which lets us buy Giant's Flame Take Thee and Flame Fall Upon Thee. But there's more upgrades to get. We go to the Giant Conquering Hero's Grave. I took out the troll in here and then grabbed the Giant Seal from below, which boosts Giant Flame incantations by 20% when held in our offhand. With this, I tested out Giant's Flame Take Thee on the Ancient Hero of Zamor boss. The damage is absolutely massive. When the flame hits his eyes and shortly after he dies, that's Zamore. I was kind of worried about Fire Giant. You'd think he'd have huge fire resistance, but actually it's only 50%. Scouring Black Flame did a nice amount of damage, and of course the percentage-based health drain really helped to keep chipping him down. I've also noticed that which part of the Scouring Black Flame hits the enemy seems to affect the base damage, but it's not like it's that big for Fire Giant anyway. I blasted his hand at the start of phase 2, and then got behind his leg and spammed a whole bunch more. He was weakened quite a bit after this, and didn't have much health remaining. For no real reason, I used Black Flame Ritual to finish him off. This is a giant win for the run for sure. After getting another 2 more points of faith, I grabbed Burno Flame from his remembrance. This incantation is going to really help with the run. Next we head to Ordina to light all the candles, Burno Flame these guys, and make it to the Halig tree. Loretta was the first chance to properly test out Burno Flame, and it performed excellently. There was a surprising amount of opportunities to cast it, even to charge it fully, and the duck down when casting the incantation meant I avoided Loretta's attacks. This was really smooth, and we eviscerated Loretta's health bar, only taking 1 hit the whole fight. I think this incant makes me a pillar of the community. At this point, I finally went to get the Faithful's Canvas Talisman. Also, let's do enough of Millicent's quest to get the Flock's Canvas. First, I burnt up O'Neill quickly, then gave the needle to Gowry, restored and killed Millicent, before finally killing Gowry for the talisman. Back in the Halig tree, I tried to outfire's Deadly Sin against the Putrid Avatar, and it was pretty bad. Oh well, Burno Flame go brrrr. Millennia time again now. Her damage has leveled up quite a bit, it seems. She's weak to fire at least. For phase 1, I use Flame of the Fell God, which slowly homes in on her and knocks her down. Then follow up with Burno Flame for some good damage she can't avoid. The only drawback is Flame of the Fell God does trigger her to do Waterfowl a bit more often. For phase 2, I dodge the Ionia and blast her with Giant's Flame as she recovers. I tried more Giant's Flame, but after she kept dodging it, I switched to Burno Flame as we can often duck under her swings or kicks with the casting animation. I did take some big damage from her, but with a few more Giant's Flames after another Ionia and a couple more Burno Flames, Millennia isn't able to protect herself and dies at our feet. We've got 50 faith now! I decided now to go to the subterranean sucking grounds for some reason. I grabbed Moog's Shackle from below and found out that actually Burno Flame is amazing for taking out these big omen dudes. I didn't really want to go through this area though, so instead I learned to nail the sewer skip perfectly. It's appropriate this area is a sewer because it's total shit. This lets us do Sewer Moog next. He has an insane 80% fire resistance, so Black Flame is the play for sure for the percentage damage. This was less bad than I predicted, honestly. Black Flame Ritual actually was the MVP, doing a ton of damage to him as he liked to just stay standing still in it. It still took longer than normal, and his attacks did an insane amount of damage to me, but eventually we melt down the worst version of Moog. With some mad platforming skills, I make my way to the bottom of this hellhole. Here we get grabbed by the 3 fingers. That's right, we're doing that ending. Okay, on to Farum Azula. There isn't much we really need here, so let's just get this next fight over with. Given the Godskin duo resist fire, I really thought this was going to be a nightmare, but Scouring Black Flame once again was excellent. Being able to hit both of them at once was tremendously helpful. When the noble did the roll, I got him stuck on the pillar and blasted him down before blasting the apostle down right after. The noble now came back, and sadly I couldn't kill him before he summoned the apostle, but the good news was I did get him down to phase 2, meaning that he rolled again. I got him stuck, and then finished him. A few more black flames to the Apostle, and the Godskin duo goes down on the first try. I really didn't expect this to go so smooth. I guess all that fire left them with a Godskin condition. Haha, outsmarted you there, Crucible Knight. You can't get me over. Oh my god, ah! Anyway, I was in no mood for these guys' nonsense this time, so just ran through. On to Placiduous Axe. He's resistant to fire, and it's raining, which worsens our damage, but of course he is big and barely mobile, so Black Flame Ritual works a treat. You can actually cast it in between each lightning strike at the beginning. After the Claw Swipe and Fire attack, it's a good window to do Black Flame Ritual as well, and then Burno Flame for some more higher damage. It was still a long fight because of him flying around and me having to just run from the laser, which very nearly killed me. I kept at it though, and eventually we take out this Placid Saxophone. We quickly grabbed 2 more points in Faith. I thought Draconic Tree Sentinel would be hard, but I didn't realize how much Burno Flame staggered him. That's actually kinda crazy. This incantation is so strong. Malekith was a fight I wish went a little cleaner. I managed to get him to run into the Black Flame Ritual at the beginning, which I was happy with. Burno Flame then took a bunch of the Clergyman's health. After that, I used Scouring Black Flame for the final bit of Phase 1. I missed my opening Burno Flame in Phase 2, but got one soon after that took most of his health. It actually ended in a trade as I cast Burno Flame, the pillars came up and he jumped on me, killing me and himself. I thought it wasn't going to count as a win, but actually it did surprisingly. I guess both our deaths were destined there. Well, time now to ascend to the capital. Gideon got bounced up and down until he died. This was fun. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Time for Godry, and guess what? Horalu's grab is a one-shot now. So for the first phase, I stuck with Scouring Black Flame. I could actually reliably hit him with it and still have time to dodge his charging stomp. I did take some hits here and there, but the damage was enough to push him to phase 2 after not too long. I dodged Horalu's initial grab and punished with a Scouring Black Flame. After he did the jump, I dodged it and left a Black Flame Ritual for him to run into. It only took 3 more Scouring Black Flame casts after that to bring him down, making him the Horaluser of this fight. Hey, we got 60 faith. I'm going to leave Radabeast for now though. Back in the snowfield, we bounce around the Sanguine Noble and head to Mohgwyn. Mohg has an 80% resistance to fire just like his illusion, so he's definitely one of the most concerning bosses of the run. I also stupidly forgot about the Purifying Crystal tier. Oops. This without a doubt ended up being one of the most challenging fights of this cycle so far. I was thinking Black Flame would be the main thing we'd use, but Burno Flame was pretty good at doing damage and also stance breaking him surprisingly. Getting through phase 1 was not too much issue. Phase 2 got very chaotic though. Blood Flame everywhere. I used Scouring Black Flame to hit him from a distance or close up depending on when I had a window. I took a number of hits when I attacked at the wrong time and ended up with no flasks remaining. It was an intense fight, health draining fire versus health draining fire. I played it somewhat safe and luckily kept my cool enough to pull off the Mohg win. We now get 63 faith and get Blood Boon from Mohg's Remembrance. I don't know if this will be all that helpful, but let's see if I can find a use for it. As Mohg is out of the way, let's head into the DLC now. We enter Bellarat where we grow some birds, and the Curse Blade as well. Before the next boss, I used a Rune Arc along with the Outer God Heirloom, so we have the 17 arcane needed to use Mohg's Blood Boon. I wanted to use this for Dancing Lion, as he's weak to both fire and bleed. Worth noting that all the bosses have more health than usual because of beating Promised Consort Radahn in New Game. This activates what's known as DLC Plus, giving the bosses more health than usual for the following cycles than if we just went to New Game Plus without beating the DLC. Blood Boon was fairly decent in phase 1, getting some bleed procs to bring his health down quick, although it's kinda hard to aim it and a bit unreliable. For phase 2, I ended up going back to Burno Flame, and unsurprisingly the damage was absolutely monstrous. Finding windows to cast it here was tricky, but it only took a couple of these in opportune moments to send this beast for Lion off this mortal plane. I took the route up to Shadow Altus again for one very specific reason. Yeah, you know what we're here to do. By standing right up close to this fog gate, you can cast Flame of the Fell God, and it will actually form on the other side of the golden fog, fly towards R'Larna, and damage her. It doesn't even take that many to kill her. 2 DLC Remembrance bosses dead. I know it's kinda cheesy, but as we're using fire anyway, this felt like a shame to pass up. Plus, the moon is supposedly made of cheese, so it's thematically appropriate. We now take the long route into the church district of Shadow Keep, burn up the Fire Knight, and drain the water from the bottom. Even this tougher knight goes down very easily with Burno Flame spam. Beyond him, we get the Fire Knight Seal, which boosts Mesmer Flame incantations by 15%, such as Fire Serpent, the homing fireball the Fire Knights use, which we grab from the storehouse back section. You might have guessed, but I wanted this for the Shadow Tree avatar as it's super weak to fire. First phase, we almost instantly blast down with Burno Flame. Second phase, I used Burno Flame initially for good damage, but then used Fire Serpent from a distance to get some nice easy damage in to bring it down. I popped Flame Grant Me Strength again before phase 3. Sadly, I didn't dodge the explosion at the start, but I still did manage to get underneath it and finish it off with 2 quick Burno Flames. This flower got heated up so much, it really did become a sunflower. I level up to 67 Faith before heading back to the storehouse where I jumped over here to pull the lever for later. But for now, we get outside and travel down for Commander Gaius. For this boar-riding idiot, Burno Flame worked great. The first cast did about 10,000 damage. I actually am pretty okay at dodging his charge at this point, which helped. The second cast did 14,000 damage, pushing him to phase 2. I dodged his spinning attack and landed another for a cool 11,000 damage. After a bit more dodging around, and some possible near deaths, I landed one more Flame Pillar Barrage to leave him with some 3rd degree Borns. With all the fragments behind him, I went up to Shadow Tree level 20 for actually the first time ever. Because we already have the Oh Mother gesture from the last cycle, we can take this route immediately. We can't do anything here yet, of course, but it's good to have it open and ready. I went to grab the Holy Necklace now, and made my way to the Cerulean Coast. I melt this YouTube comments troll, and entered the Stone Coffin Fissure. I somehow made it through the death run of lasers and birds, and fried up the Misbegotten Ghost for no real reason once again. Onto Putrescent Knight. His damage is pretty high unsurprisingly, and he took me out quite a few times. But my damage was also high. I just had to find the right opportunity, like after he did the horse charge attack. After figuring out the right attack windows, it actually took just 3 Burno Flames to bring him down. I guess that makes sense, he does have a lot lower health than most of the DLC bosses. You really couldn't argue with this, but if he did, I guess we could call him the Disputrescent Knight. With that done, I sounded the hanging bell in the Cerulean Coast ruins, and then sounded the second bell as we had the Grace close to it already. I burnt up Sword Hand of Knight Anna, and then tried to Burno Flame Metir, but she gave me the finger. I died more to her than any other DLC boss so far. After a good few attempts, I managed to get the rhythm. I found that Burno Flame let me duck under her spread out fingers attack, which was not something I was expecting. For phase 2, running away from the flying Beyblade attack often sets you up for a good attack opportunity to burn her. I survived the Mega Laser attack, flamed her as she landed, and conveniently she did the ground AoE, which was easy enough for me to get to the side of her and finish her off. Definitely a boss that's still low on my Metir list. I leveled up now to 73 Faith, which is some pretty big numbers. Time to head to Jagged Peak. We kill this Dragon Man, and this Dragon Man, and make our way up the mountain. Baal was pretty angry. He definitely took the least damage of any boss so far from Burno Flame. Baal is pretty strong elemental resistances, and of course does crazy damage in New Game Plus. I couldn't just brute force my way through this one. After the Flying Stomp attack and the Grab Charge are both good opportunities to land our Flame Pillars. I took a risk casting it during the phase transition, but it paid off as it did a lot of damage this time. Although I did take a hard hit and didn't have time to heal, so dodging the follow-up flying attack was crucial. This was pretty chaotic, and I'm surprised it took under 10 attempts. I think I have a bit of a better understanding of some of his attacks though, which I'm quite happy with. With one final Burno Flame, just as he started to summon some lightning, we evict this dragon from the world of the living. You can call me the Baelif. Now we have 77 Faith. I've been putting this off, but let's head to Midra via Darklight Catacombs. I took out the giant cannon imp with ease, and Jory's up now. This fight, as always, was pretty annoying. I was really hoping Burno Flame knocked him up in the air the same way it does to Millennia, but sadly no. He interrupted Burno Flame a lot, but at least damage was strong when I could land it. We took a fair beating here honestly, but this fight sucks, so what do you expect? Eventually, I landed enough casts to get him to Inquis down and shut up. I decided for a change to go a different route in the woods, and ended up finding another lot of aging untouchables that I never knew about. Soon enough, we made it into Midra's Manse. Onto Midra himself. This boss seemed like one of the first where Burno Flame wasn't the one. Damage was good, but the pillars never hit him enough times. I tested Black Flame and also Giant's Flame. Giant's Flame seems to do the best damage out of all of them. This ended up being way harder than I imagined. His damage was insane. I quickly went and got the Opaline hard tier because I was just really struggling to survive here. After a number of failed attempts, I decided to go back to Burno Flame. Even if it didn't always hit loads, it did let me duck under some of his attacks, which was very helpful. On the winning attempt, after blasting the annoying little guy at the start, I ran around Midra's initial attack and landed Burno Flame a couple times to get good damage. Things were going pretty well as I ducked under many of his attacks successfully. In the second phase, I got quite a long combo of ducking under his attacks with Burno Flame, which was awesome. I did get caught by the Madness Blast, but a couple more Burno Flames put an end to him. Old Faithful comes through once again. I should have never doubted it. In another life, given our love of fire, Midra and I could have been buddies, frenzies even. With his remembrance, I got the Midra's Flame of Frenzy incantation. I'm not sure this will be too useful. It does look cool at least, and you can hold the button to keep firing. Anyway, I headed through Shadowkeep, killing this guy on the way, because I hate him. For Mesmer, I'm sticking with Burno Flame as before, but still, this fight was tough due to his very high damage and quick movements. Part of the problem was between my flames and his flames, I actually couldn't see what was going on at some points. This still ended up being easier than Midra in the end, which kinda surprised me. I think it's because Mesmer moves around more than Midra, so there's times where he literally darts into the fire pillars and helps to boost the damage as a result. I could duck under some of his attacks with the cast animation, but not as many as Midra. The Serpent phase as usual is almost easier because he has longer windows after the snake attack to punish. It didn't take too many more Burno Flames to finish him off after, allowing me to let off some Serpent-up aggression. With Faith looking pretty high, I decided to level up Vigor from now on. We head down this route out of Shadowkeep and kill this guy to get the Rain of Fire incantation, and I also get Mesmer's Orb from his remembrance. Let's head into the Ancient Runes of Rao. So Ramina. Look, she's obviously weak to fire, and of course I could just use Burno Flame to probably annihilate her, but I thought let's try out Rain of Fire and Mesmer's Orb. Rain of Fire, providing you don't lock on, causes a big rain of fire to come down around you and has the same ducking animation as Burno Flame. It actually did pretty well. Mesmer's Orb also did good damage, but it's too slow and leaves me too open to really use that effectively here. So I resolved to use Rain of Fire for this one. Again, no doubt with Burno Flame, we would have absolutely destroyed her, but it felt good to use something else. The damage was much less consistent, and it did actually add some challenge as to when the best times to land it were. Dodging in and getting closer to her main body definitely worked the best, or trying to bait the attacks where she'd leap at me were also great. It took longer than you'd think it would, but with enough ROM of fire casts, Rainina goes down. We now burn the ceiling tree and prepare for a nearer limb. Oh hey look, I got a kill with Mesmer's Orb. I incinerated all these idiots just because I could. I also took out this guy because I hate him. Then I rained on this guy's parade. The last one was a bit closer, but he was still just full of hot air. Right, time to give Leda the runaround. Actually, this sucked. This was extremely annoying to try and do anything. Even my Burno Flame juggling didn't work, as we kept getting interrupted. I mean, Horn Scent by himself was okay. I could juggle him with Burno Flame for some great damage and kill him quite quick. Dryleaf Dane and Leda were much tougher as they took way less damage from it and had many attacks that interrupted me before I could even get it off. Crazily enough, the key to victory actually ended up being Mesmer's Orb. The ease in which I could use this to get above their attacks and then blast them both away with a shockwave was amazing. The uncharged version is pretty quick, and the initial landing also staggers them before the explosion. I finally managed to take out Dane, but I had to use a Starlight Shard to have enough FP to finish Leda. At last, this awful battle is over. I died to this more than any other fight in the DLC this cycle. Yep, even more than this one surprisingly. Ouch. Promise Consort Radan is happy today. So, I did die a few times here, but it really wasn't as many as you might think. Burno Flame is again the GOAT. My initial gambit got me 9,000 damage, which was pretty good. A few more casts pushed him to phase 2, and this was where the fun began. After his meteor attack, which I avoided almost all of apart from the final AoE, I then landed a Burno Flame anyway. After that, he did the grab, which I dodged, and then landed another Burno Flame. Following this, he went into the wild multi-hit combo, but because of being so low down from Burno Flame, I avoided almost all of it to land yet another Burno Flame. He then went for the cross slash, which I was able to duck under most of due to Burno Flame again, and then landed one more after dodging the final part of it. He started going up for the big meteor, but the last hit of Burno Flame here actually stance broke him, letting me land one final one to finish him off. We took him red down pretty quickly this time. Let's smack 2 more points into Vigor now. Welp, only Radabeast left. It's crazy how easy this seemed compared to the DLC. Radagon is weak to fire, so it didn't take too many Burno Flames to kill him. Elden Beast actually resists fire and is in water, so you'd think that this wouldn't do that much damage, but yeah, that's still quite good. I did get kinda lucky at one point as Elden Beast did his melee combo twice in a row, letting me land several Burno Flames as he went into summoning Elden Stars afterwards. After dodging his flying spinning slash, and also the grab, the successive Burno Flames I landed were too much and brought an Eldend to his existence. Before finishing the game, we grabbed the Dragon Cult prayer book and use it to get Lightning Spear, our only starting incant for the final cycle. I'm going to use the Gravelstone Seal to start the cycle as it boosts Dragon Cult incantations, aka the lightning ones, and also I rarely see people use it as an actual seal. I leveled it up to +3. I will apply the same rules re smithing stones and talisman slots as last time, but I'm not going to region lock myself this time because I want to try a kind of crazy route. With all that sorted, I let the world burn. Lightning Spear, even with our barely upgraded seal, does some good damage thanks to our high health. We quickly wish goodbye on to the Scion and enter Limgrave for the last time. So first we head to Fort Height to get the Left Dectus Medallion. Then we take the portal behind the Third Church of Marika to get to Dragon Barrow. We head to Fort Faroth and get the right medallion. We take this side route to Liurnia, easily kill Smaragd for no reason apart from funsies, get the Academy key, and using the key get over to this part of Liurnia. We charge through to the lift, use it to get up and rest at the Grace. This of course unlocks the Radahn Festival. That's right, we're doing Radahn as our first Remembrance boss. So, bad news is that our damage is pretty low and he hits really hard. But the good news is the range of our Lightning Spear is decent enough that we can avoid a fair few of his attacks. This took a lot of hits to bring him down though, so many that my physic buff had worn off for the first time in a while. I did have to resort to using Torrent to avoid some of the shockwave attacks in Phase 2 because I knew for certain they would one-shot me. After a near 7-minute fight, our first Remembrance boss is defeated, a good way to start our journey. We can use Smithing Stone 2s now, so we upgrade the seal and also slap on another talisman. Next up we go see Varre. I then went up to Altus and absolutely blasted Magnus the Beastclaw. I think he forgot he's an NPC and he's supposed to dodge projectiles. I then get the Lord of Blood's favour from this maiden. We go back to Varre to get the medal that will let us enter Mohgwyn Palace early. Mohg will be our second Remembrance boss. Now, Mohg proved much more of a problem. Our damage was very low, especially when the fight dragged out so long that the physic buff wore off. I need to think of a better solution for him than just Lightning Spear, I think. Admittedly, this had thrown a bit of a wrench in my plans, but I had an alternative to try. First, we head down to Ainsel River. I didn't have any time for the antics of the locals here. I just ran through to fight the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. Even though he does have decent lightning resistance, we actually do some okay damage. It still took quite a few lightning spears to bring him down, but this rewards us with Frozen Lightning Spear. Hopefully this will work better for Mohg. So one big problem with Frozen Lightning Spear, the bolts rain down in a weird cone-shaped arc in front of you, and sometimes they miss when it feels like they really shouldn't. Like, how the hell did both of those miss him completely? This was easily one of the tougher Mohg fights I've ever had. So, like, would you believe me if I told you the winning attempt lasted almost 10 minutes? My strat was to proc Frost with Frozen Lightning at the start of the fight. This still took quite a few as Mohg is quite resistant to Frost, but I managed to get it fairly early on. After this, I switched to normal Lightning Spears until Frost wore off, and then switched back to Frozen Lightning. During his phase transition, I spammed more Frozen Lightning, and fairly early into Phase 2, we got the second Frost proc. My physic buff had worn off at this point, which decreased our damage. I tried a bunch of Lightning Spears, but the damage was so low now, and I was worried about running out of FP before we got the kill. So, I switched to Frozen Lightning hoping to get a Frost proc again, but even though sometimes Frozen Lightning actually hit him twice due to his wingspan, it never came, and I ran out of FP. Once again, mid-fight, I had to equip a Starlight Shard and use it, and then wait for the FP to regen enough to use Lightning Spear. After landing a couple, I thought Moog was dead, but once again, our boss 1 HP in a dreams me. Thankfully, one final shot brings Moog down for the final time of this run. That fight was like trying to get blood from a stone. I now can upgrade the seal with Smithing Stone 3s. In case you hadn't guessed, I did all of this for early DLC access. We take the side route up to Shadow Altus yet again, but this time we head all the way down Scorpion River to end up in the Scorpion River Catacombs at the end. Deep inside, we claim our prize, the Knight's Lightning Spear, one of the best lightning incants in the whole game. We'll leave the DLC for now, as doing it without a fully upgraded talisman wouldn't be wise, especially in New Game++. Let's test it out on something we haven't killed yet. We go do the Golden Lineage Everjail to fight the most stupidly named boss in the whole game, Godofroy. Knight's Lightning Spear fires either 5 or 7 spears at once, depending on if you charge it up or not, although it actually only hits 3 times charged or uncharged, which is kinda weird. It also does a lot of stance damage, nearly 28 stance damage for a fully charged one, which for a ranged spell is pretty broken. The damage may not seem crazy now, but once we get a better upgraded seal, this thing is going to start shredding. By beating this boss though, we get the Godfrey icon, which will boost the damage of a fully charged spear. Speaking of upgrading the seal, let's go get some more bosses done. Margit time. The damage from a fully charged one is looking nice for a +9 seal. Margit was only of passing skill, so we blast him down quickly. In a similar vein, Godric gets absolutely destroyed, but in an even easier fashion. A few charged Knight's Lightning Spears as he comes forward, followed by one more after we dodge his wind attack. Stance breaks him right away. Then, we land one more followed by a couple of frozen lightnings as he phase transitions. I then landed 2 more at the start of the second phase to proc Frost, followed by 3 more Knight's Lightning Spears to kill him without taking a single hit. He was drowning here, shame he didn't have a life graft. I used Smithing 4s now to upgrade the seal and put the Ritual Sword Talisman in my 4th talisman slot. Now, onto Rhea Lucaria, where Knight's Lightning Spear absolutely obliterates the Red Wolf. A fully charged one takes off over half his health. This is a really quick fight. His bark was definitely worse than his bite here. Moongrum also gets completely bodied. In a similar vein, Renala was not much issue. We couldn't quite one-cycle the first phase, but honestly not the end of the world. Phase 2 has her standing in water, so the damage gets buffed a bit. The only thing that dragged this out was the summons, particularly having to run away from the wolves or getting caught by the Bloodhound Knight. It's crazy annoying that the lock-on goes to the summons instead of her, causing me to miss what would have been a killing blow. But it's okay, one more hit and Sailor Moon is defeated. I use Smithing Stone 5s now on the seal. Did you think we were done with the questline stuff? Well, think again. I speak to Corin, then find him again in Altus. I went to chat to Goldmask, who had lots to say, of course. Would you believe me if I told you I've never spoken to this guy before? We tell Corhin of Goldmask's location, and now he sells us the Discus of Light, a useful holy incantation for later. Nearby the capital, we can grab the Golden Order seal, actually the best seal for this whole run. I upgraded it to +5. This seal scales with both int and faith, so it's really good for our build given we have loads of both. We'll use this from now on as it has higher incant scaling than the Gravel seal or even the Erdtree seal. I also went to get Golden Vow, as this feels in keeping with the Miracles build. It's similar to kind of Sacred Oath from the previous games. I decided to clear off the annoying remembrances locked behind quests first, so went down to Nokron and quickly blasted Mimic Tyr, who performed even worse than usual in this fight. A big reason I wanted to come down here though was to do the Regal Ancestor Spirit, one of the very few remembrance bosses weak to Holy, so perfect to test Discus of Light. This incantation does loads of damage, is fast and spammable, and uses a tiny amount of FP. It can also hit twice as it flies forward and then back. We actually outpace the Regal Ancestor Spirit's healing, and it doesn't take many of these to kill it. This boss really hasn't endeared itself to me across these cycles. I upgrade the Golden Order seal with a Somber 6, and now head into Carrier Manor. We kill Loretta in just 3 fully charged Knight's Lightning Spears. I actually forgot to put the Lightning Tier back in the physic from the last fight, so this could have gone even quicker. Speaking of lightning damage, I took a quick trip to Wyndham Catacombs while I remembered to get the Lightning Scorpion Charm to boost our lightning damage even further. I killed the Watchdog boss in here for fun, I guess. I finished up all the quest stuff with Ranni and headed all the way down to Lake of Rot. Onwards to Astel. I bet he really wishes his boss arena didn't have water in it. The damage from Knight's Lightning Spear here was monstrous, especially fully charged. I did get some really good RNG with his first couple of attacks, as it let me take off about 60% of his health right from the start. It only took a few more to end him, giving me a pretty easy hitless win. Shame he couldn't avoid our spears. I used a Somber 7 now on the Golden Order seal. Although I didn't intend to do Fortis Axe just yet, I did want to unlock the way, so I quickly went and spanked the Valiant Gargoyles. Again, the water in the arena helps loads, and it only takes 3 or 4 fully charged Knight's Lightning Spears to take each one out. In a similar vein, Fia's champions were also extremely easy compared to the hell of last time, in part due to the water in the arena. There's a lot of bosses with water in their arena, aren't there? The first champion goes down in 1 attack, while Rogier dies in 2. The 3 were a bit trickier, but not by much. Actually being able to hit them with ease was so satisfying. They feared me for once. I then went and spanked the Godskin Noble at the top of the Carrion Study Hall to get the Curse Mark of Death. Still not intending to do Fortis Axe yet, as he has 80% resistance to both Lightning and Holy, so yeah, let's go do Leyndell for now. Goldfried just gets absolutely ruined. It only took 4 Knight's Lightning Spears to absolutely torch his health, killing him in 30 seconds. I guess he is the Forlord version of the real thing. The Black Knife assassin up ahead also didn't know what hit her. As for Morgott, well, the damage was very strong, and it only took 3 full charges to bring him down to below half health. Even during the phase transition, where damage is reduced by 50%, the numbers still look pretty solid. But that was nothing compared to the Lightning Spear that hit just as the phase transition ended, dealing nearly 5,500 damage. Bet he wishes he didn't cover the arena in water. 1 last hit, and he's dead for the final time. This incantation is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. A truly momentous victory. Somber 8 time now for the Golden Order seal. I grab the Golden Order Principa, which I give to Miriel to buy Radagon's Rings of Light. I headed up to the mountaintops now, where I annihilated Borealis on the way, because I just really dislike him. Before continuing though, I went to see Goldmask again. I used Law of Regression to help reveal the truth about Marika and Radagon, which I told Goldmask about, and he thanked me with an epic T-pose. Then I met him in the mountaintops and gave him one back. So Fire Giant. I was expecting this to be a bit of a challenge, but then I saw the damage from my first Lightning Spear, and the second one. I missed the next couple because he kept moving around, but a couple more pushed him to phase 2. So normally hitting his head is near impossible with a melee build, but here I blasted him easily with another fully charged one, and it stance broke him immediately. We then blast him with 2 more while he's down, and that's it. The giant dead in 60 seconds, leaving him in truly fire straits. We can now upgrade our seal to +9, the damage is just starting to get wild here. Alright, let's head into Farum Azula for the last time. I thought I'd try taking out this dragon, but then I saw the damage and yeah, you know what, I'm good. Instead, we get the Ancient Dragon Prayer Book and use it to get Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike from Miriel. You probably already know how insanely strong this incantation is, but just in case you don't, have a look at the damage it does to Fortis Axe, who has 80% lightning resistance. That's pretty wild. It does have a long charge up time and the lightning pillars can feel a bit random, but against large targets like Fortis Axe, the damage is just unbelievable. The water in his arena helps a little of course, but in just over a minute, he's dead too. He got absolutely liched here. I thought this fight was going to drag on. The Golden Order seal is maxed out, so it's time to crush the rest of the game. For a bit of a change of pace, let's go into the DLC now. Castle Ensis is first up, and Moonrathil got blasted down. Good. So on to R'hllana now, and why do these bosses love standing in water so much? I mean, I'm not complaining. The damage here was just absolutely silly. She did dodge a couple, but landing 2 fully charged ones during the phase transition was enough to stance break her. If only I had the FP to capitalize. I went for another, but she went into this attack making her immune to damage. I dodged it with the right jumps, and one final charge spear ended her. We get up to 60 vigor now. While here, I thought I'd also take out the Dancing Lion. I was expecting this to be tougher due to his 40% lightning resistance, but yeah, that's still a lot of damage. What's even better is that he summons rain to make our lightning even stronger. One of them actually got 9,000 damage on him. We get a stance break near the end, after which we land another charged spear, followed by an uncharged one to leave this thing lying in the dust. There's some other holy incants we can get, so we grab golden arcs and also get the sacred tower painting. I take the back route into Shadowkeep again just because I like to go this way and not because my wife would be very angry if I kill another cute hippo. Up top, even this knight doesn't stand in our way. I tried to Knight's Lightning Spear Mesmer, but he tends to dance around a lot. He didn't take kindly to me invading his space. This was definitely one of the toughest fights during the lightning cycle. Mesmer's rapid movement made it tough to get the fully charged spear on him without being punished. But with enough persistence, I was able to push him into phase 2. Here, things went a bit better, but that was mostly because the windows after his snake attacks are big enough to usually get the fully charged spear in. It was still pretty close. I took a lot of damage at several points here. The final shot actually hit him in mid-air as he flew at me, which was a pretty based way to finish this serpent. With that sorted, we head below Shadowkeep. Here we grab the Dryleaf Seal, which boosts the ring incantations like Discus of Light or Radagon's Rings of Light. I'm going to head to the Cerulean Coast, but let's try doing a holy build for a bit. We enter the Great Fissure, where I tested out Radagon's Rings of Light. The damage is good, but it's kinda slow and it can get interrupted easily. Discus of Light with our holy buffs, however, was very effective. I killed the Spirit Misbegotten again, but this time we'll actually use the incant that he drops, Multi-Layered Rings of Light. Let's try this out against Putrescent Knight, who conveniently is very weak to holy damage. It's a bit like Discus of Light, except after you fire it, it stays hanging out in mid-air doing further damage. A charged one does some huge numbers, especially when you get him to stay in the disc. There's not that many opportunities to do that, but even without it, the projectile alone is still excellent. This was a very easy fight as a result. Holy OP, please nerf. Just for the sake of testing, I reloaded my save and tried with Discus of Light. This was also pretty good damage, especially when the Discus came back and got a second hit in. I nearly did this hitless apart from one Ghost Flame Wave hitting me at the end. It's a real shame they didn't make this boss lore accurate and use Sleep instead of Ghost Flame. Then he could have been the Putrescent Knight. I head back below the Church District now. Discus of Light absolutely slaughters this Fire Knight quite handily. So onto the Shadow Tree Avatar. While lightning might not be quite as effective as fire, it's still pretty good because guess what? Water in the arena again. His head also takes a lot more damage as we know, so a fully charged Knight's Lightning Spear does some crazy numbers. The best window I found for a fully charged one was when he does the double spin attack followed by the slam. Even though I failed again to dodge the explosion at the start of phase 3, I was able to fire off a fully charged Knight's Lightning Spear to the head and then end him pretty quickly afterwards. It was, to be fair, messier than the other fights on this cycle, but at least it's the last time we have to shadow this boss. We can, however, trade its remembrance in for the Land of Shadow incantation. Next up, let's go to the Ancient Runes of Rao. This is kinda wild. Even Devonia went down in just 3 fully charged Knight's Lightning Spears. I normally never bother to fight her due to how tanky she is. Also, why no Crucible Centaur incantation FromSoft? What the hell? Romina is next and this was one of the sloppiest fights of the run. I initially tried Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, and while the damage was good, getting it off was quite challenging. So for the latter part, I decided to go back to good old Knight's Lightning Spear. With her one hit from death, I charged up another and she killed me. But my projectiles fired and killed her. Well, that was embarrassing. At least she didn't impede our progress too much. Anyway, we burn the tree to enter Anira Lim for the final time. I don't intend to fight Radahn yet, but I did want to grab the Spirit Incantation. We also now go get the Spiral Tree Seal to hold in our offhand. It's the reward for the painting we grabbed earlier, but it only becomes available after beating Mesmer and Romina. This boosts the damage of our Spiral Incantations like Golden Arcs or Spira. Lastly, we get Giant Golden Arc. The whole purpose of this was to try out all the other holy incantations I could find against Commander Gaius, who is in fact weak to holy. So try them out we did. First, I tried Golden Arcs, which did decent damage and was fairly fast. Next, I tried Giant Golden Arc, which I could charge for some strong numbers. Spira, however, was kinda underwhelming as it was hard to even land it and didn't do all that much damage. Land of Shadow, I initially thought was pretty poor, but then all the projectiles hit him and, yeah, that's pretty solid. But a bunch of them missed because he did the charge. I tried a second time, and I think they all hit him this time, dealing nearly 9,000 damage. In the end, I finished him off with some Giant Golden Arcs for the well-earned win. This fight can be frustrating, but at least it's not boring. Okay, that's enough DLC for the moment, let's return to Faramazula. Godskin Duo was up ahead, but I was feeling okay about it. I hid behind a pillar and landed Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. Despite some good early hits, I did get overwhelmed when they both phase transitioned and the noble rolled over the broken pillar to crush me. Once I escaped and recovered, I blasted the noble to death, then smashed down the apostle with some hits, killing him just as he resummoned the noble. The noble almost instantly tried to summon his friend, but luckily we depleted their health before they could do anything. Finally, the Godskins are Godfin. For once, I killed this awful Crucible Knight. I hate this guy, and killing him easily felt so cathartic. Right, Placidusax. I mean, look, we all know at this point that Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike just completely wipes this guy out. I mean, here, it took 2. Just 2. Not a graceful kill by any means, but still. But, just for curiosity's sake, I also tried Knight's Lightning Spear. Despite nailing him with a large number of charged ones, I for some reason could not get a stance break, which was pretty unfortunate. It was still a relatively easy kill, and once the rain started, he took some hefty damage, but Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike is still the best way forward for this behemoth. Regardless, he goes limp as he dies, turning him from Placidusax to Flaccidusax. As we missed the Draconic Tree Sentinel earlier on the run, let's take this guy out. He has surprisingly low stance, so getting him down to low health, even though he resists lightning, was pretty straightforward. He did catch me with some lightning of his own, and then a fireball, but we'd already done enough damage by this point to put an end to this tanky Sen tree. For Malekith, I tried to get cute and blast him with an Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike at the start, but he saw what I was up to and didn't run towards me. However, I got him with one shortly after, which pushed him to phase 2, even if I did take a hit. He avoided my next cast at the start of phase 2, but the next one landed flush, killing him right away. I barely survived his attack though, only just managing to heal off the destined death damage. Regardless, he's now a deceased clergyman. Into the Ashen Capital for one last time. Gideon of course got absolutely blasted into the next dimension with just 3 Knight's Lightning Spears taking him out. Hoaraloo time! In phase 1, I baited the jump attack at the start, then cast Ancient Dragons taking off nearly 8,000 health. 2 Knight's Lightning Spears then pushed him to phase 2. At the start of phase 2, he always goes for the grab, so I just moved backwards slightly out of reach and got him with Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. I thought this had killed him, but he survived with 1 HP in a dream. Luckily, I avoided his following assault and landed 1 more Knight's Lightning Spear to win. Hip hip hurrah! Another looming threat is down. For Radabeast, I had a specific strategy I hoped would work. For Radagon, due to his smaller stature, I planned on using Knight's Lightning Spear. I got 2 fully charged at the start, followed by a 3rd as he went up in the air for the slam. I hit a 4th, although took a hit myself. But then, a 5th stance broke him as he went for his slams, and a 6th one finished him by giving him a case of Radagonorrhea. I Golden Vowed up for Elden Beast and switched to Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. Weirdly, the first one did hardly any damage. Must just be bad RNG I guess, but the second one more than made up for it. I then landed a 3rd and 4th in quick succession after dodging the Elden Ring attack, ending this obese creature very quickly. Well, let's go check in on Goldmask. Oh dear. Well, I'm sure we can put this rune to good use. I also paid Albus a quick visit. You saw nothing. We still had to sort out Commander Niall as well. Ancient Dragons at the start took out both his summons immediately. I thought he'd resist lightning a lot more, but apparently no. I did take some hits from some careless dodging, but a few more spears stance broke him, and then we finished him off shortly after to get the other medallion piece. This castle's lead soldier is downed for the last time. We can now embark on our last journey to the Haligtree. Despite this battle mage trying his hardest to block my progress, I managed to get into Loretta's boss room. Ancient Dragon's Lightning took off a big chunk of her health at the start. I switched to Knight's Lightning Spear, but sadly, I couldn't quite finish her before the phase transition ended. That said, it did take only 1 more spear fired right into her Lorettina to end this. I had no time for the nonsense in the Haligtree, so just blasted everything with reckless abandon. I activated the Grace Before Millennia, but we'll come back to her in a bit. Let's go clear some more DLC first. By which I mean, I want to get Mitir out of the way. Uh-oh Mitir, somebody forgot to mop the floor. Here, I'll mop the floor with you instead. Knight's Lightning Spear took off ungodly amounts of Mitir's health. After stance breaking her, the next Night Lightning Spear did almost 20,000 damage. Holy shit! Well, time for another joyous trip to the Darklight Catacombs. So seriously, why are there so many of these bosses in water-filled arenas? Okay, this wasn't quite as much of a deletion as Matir due to the projectile and summon spam, but still, this was not much issue despite me having used several flasks on the way through the catacombs. A couple more bolts and Jory goes down. This build at least stopped the majority of the annoyance this fight brings. We then handed this madman his ass, got touched by an aging untouchable, and arrived at Midra's manse. As for Midra himself, well, this was a strange one. Given what we'd been doing with other bosses, I was sure that I'd be getting a quick stance break with Knight's Lightning Spear, but despite me pelting him with a bunch of them, it just wasn't happening. He also tanked a lot of them due to his massive health pool. This was quite a messy fight as a result. I took some hard hits from Midra's attacks, barely surviving at points. Finally, right at the end, I got the stance break and brought him down with one final Knight's Lightning Spear. Much better than last cycle, the lightning did a good job against this formidable opponent. We descend once again now into the Dragon's Pit to face Ancient Dragon Man. He did prove a little trickier than some other NPCs due to his relentless chasing and projectiles, but regardless, we crushed him like all the others. We scale the mountain one last time to confront Baal the Dread. So Baal is another case where Ancient Dragon's lightning works really well, similar to Placidius Axe ironically. Now granted, actually getting the full cast off with Baal is tougher. The best chance I found was after he tried the grab. I did take a hit, but that 19,000 damage was worth it. I went for it again during the phase transition, and it's actually enough to finish him off right then and there. No phase 2 whatsoever. But just for curiosity's sake, let's try with just Knight's Lightning Spear to see what happens. Initially, this didn't start off so well. He dodged or interrupted several of my casts. I landed some decent hits, but there was no avoiding phase 2 this time. Weirdly, I did seem to get more damage now. Does this count as rain? Honestly, I don't really know, but 2 more Knight's Lightning Spears managed to stance break him, and then 2 more after that was enough to deplete the rest of his health. The camera was pretty shaky throughout this whole fight. We should refer to him as Michael Baal from now on. With Baal dead, we can now grab the Priestess Heart. For anyone wondering, yes, Baal's incantations do lightning damage, but they weirdly require Arcane to use, so they don't really feel in keeping with the Miracles run, and also I don't want to respec at this point. But anyway, Priestess Heart turns us into a dragon. We can then use it again to get a 20% boost to Dragon Cult incantations, i.e. lightning. So with all these buffs, I'm sure we'll crush Millennia. Oh right, Waterfowl Dance. Oops, maybe I should bear that in mind a bit more. Okay, this time with all the buffs applied, we do a lot better. Even though I did kinda choke on the Waterfowl dodge, it didn't matter too much. Phase 1 went by pretty quick as we sniped her from a distance. For Phase 2, I dodged the Ionia, reapplied my buffs, and then fired away. She did play really nice for me here, not doing Waterfowl and only doing the clone's attack once, which I managed to dodge. By the time she did the second Ionia, she was so low on health that the 2 charged spears I fired after dodging the Ionia were sufficient to end this neurotic boss. Just 1 foe remains. In an era limb, we spanked the Dancing Lion Simp once again. Thankfully, the NPC fight went much better this time. 3 charged spears took out Hornsent. Dane was a bit tougher, especially when he healed, but still our spears were enough to bring him down eventually. And Leda, well, she nearly ruined the whole thing, but after a lot of running and firing, she finally died too. I'm happy to not do this again for a long while. So, this is it, the final fight of the run. Radahn in Phase 1 interestingly is weaker to Holy than anything else, so I stocked both the Holy Shrouding and the Lightning Shrouding cracked here in my Physic. With this and the Sacred Scorpion Charm equipped, Discus of Light made short work of Phase 1. For Phase 2 though, I was going to use Knight's Lightning Spear, but his damage to me is a problem. Removing the Opaline Hard tier from the Physic has had dire consequences on my defenses. I re-added the tier as I found the extra holy damage in Phase 1 just didn't make too much difference. Discus of Light was still going to get the job done. The problem was Knight's Lightning Spear just took too long to charge up, and I couldn't safely punish him in any of the usual windows. After all the success it had this run, was Knight's Lightning Spear actually not able to push us across the finish line? I tried even equipping Radagon's Icon for faster casting, but it seemed to make no difference. I did try Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike as well, which did awesome damage, but actually trying to get the cast off seemed nigh impossible. Well, there was one other crazy idea to try. I switched my entire setup to Holy, removed Godfrey's Icon to put the Faithful Canvas Talisman back on. This went better, but the problem was once Golden Vow wore off, the damage from the discus in phase 2 was just too low. Another tactic I tried was using the uncharged version of Knight's Lightning Spear in phase 2, but one mistake still meant death, so I opted to switch back to Godfrey's icon and charging my attack. After an hour or so of attempts, this happened. With that done, we return to the Fractured Marika and use the Mending Rune of Order to get the most appropriate ending. Well, that's the run complete. We can... Wait, I forgot Rykard! Okay, phew. Oh, that was a hell of a run. Easily the longest multi-cycle run so far. I hope you've all enjoyed the video. I'm gonna go sleep for a week now. I've been JK Leeds. See ya, and have a good one.